Okay, hopefully I didn't cut that short and you guys had time to write all of your thoughts, your gratitudes, and your intentions for the day. So today I want to talk about the formula that we talk about every day. I'm going to start doing this as I do morning ascents. I want to go through even at one point some of the our affirmations, go into detail. What do these mean? Because I don't know about you, but when I'm reading these and when I'm on morning ascent listening and following along, I tend to look at these and every once in a while something comes up and I think, ooh, I stopped doing that. Oof, I haven't started doing that. So I want to go into depth on some of these, but today I want to work mostly, not mostly, only on the self-confidence formula. So this is something through Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I don't know how many of you have read the book. They also have it on Audible now, which is awesome. And it kind of spurred me. I go through the Think and Grow Rich book at least twice a year whenever I have a new goal. Yep, and Trevor has one right there at his desk. So I go through it at least twice a year, depending on my goals. And what I have found, I've been doing this now for probably 10 plus years. And in the beginning, when I would write a goal, it took me probably about the time, maybe a little bit longer than I had intended. And we're going to go through that exercise here in a minute of really planning it out. And then as I grew into doing this more, it seemed like not only was I making these plans and I was making a goal for myself, that they started coming sooner than I expected. And that was really exciting to me. So as soon as I reach a goal, I get my book out and I start doing another goal. I re-listen to parts of it. I don't necessarily listen to the whole book again, but I definitely listen to the parts that I need to move forward with where I want to go. So, with this self confidence formula, this is something that you need to read to support what we're going to do here today. So, obviously, we read this every day. I would suggest going through this and really looking at this, highlight what's important, because when you read through this, it really does talk about who you need to be, who you need to be thinking, how you need to be thinking. And so this is going to help with the things that we're going to write out today. So I know some of you may be in the car. Hopefully you can pull aside, and because I really am going to do this exercise with you today. Okay, so I actually went to Barnes and Noble. There's still a bookstore out there. And I bought this probably about 5 years ago. And I just recently went and bought another one. So there's a workbook. Someone went through the book, and there's pages in here that are workbooks. What I did this time is I actually made copies of the book because my 5-year-old book has all of my different goals, which is fun to look back on. And I guess I could do it every 3, 4 years. So I would write in my goals. So what I want you to do is we're going to talk about it's in the chapter where we're going to write down your goals. I want you to think right now about what is a goal that you have. It could be money, it could be physical. So I actually, just so you guys know, in my book, my journal, as well as writing out my intentions and my gratitudes, I actually write out, this is my workbook that I'm going to go through with you today. And I have one in green, that's my money. That's my goal for my business. And then I have another one, it's usually either in pink or purple. And that's for my physical, my personal self, and what I'm doing in my health. So you can do it however you want. But the biggest thing here is we're going to talk today about what money do you want? What is your goal? I'm going to read this to you. Okay, so Napoleon Hill says, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient to merely say, I want plenty of money. Be definite in the amount. So right now, I want everybody to write down how much money do you want to make? What's the amount of money you want to make in your business this year? Is it 200? Is it 300? Is it a million? What is your dollar amount? Remember, like Les Brown says, we're not going to, right now, it's none of our business on how that's going to happen. We are going to write a plan of action. It's part of this exercise. But right now, just write a dollar amount that you want. Now, the funny thing about this is I just recently wrote a new goal and I put my dollar amount in there. And it was really interesting. I shared it with my husband, and he was the only one I shared it with at first. And then I was having a conversation with some of my business partners, and it was amazing that we started talking about where every sales system is going and what's it going to do. And the conversation came up, and bam, the number came up that I had written down in my book. I'm telling you guys, this stuff works. Like, I still don't know how it works. I just keep doing it because it works. So now we have to go and make that money. Every sales system has to go and make that money. We have to go do these things. But it's interesting how I wrote something down that I thought was this big number, and all of a sudden it was coming to light in conversations. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to write down the amount of money that you want. Okay, it says only those who become money conscious ever accumulate great riches. Money consciousness means that the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire of money that one can see oneself already in the possession of it. Now, remember, in our self-confidence formula, it still talks about who we need to be. We need to have others help us, and we need to be helping others. So for those of you that still struggle with wanting a certain amount of money and thinking, well, gosh, I shouldn't be concentrating on money, you have to start somewhere. And then the things that we're going to talk about next is where your character is going to come in. Right now, we're just talking about money. Okay, so does everybody have their amount written down? I know there's a couple chats. Someone said $420,000 this year. Okay, so you can share if you want. You don't have to share, but the big thing is write it down. Now, task 2. This again is just in the workbook, but this is in the Think and Grow Rich. If you're reading the book, he has you go through these and write them down, and then we're going to talk about how to use them. So now, the intention to give. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money that you desire. So I would like to give to or buy. So what are you going to do? What are the things that you need to commit to make this happen? We're going to do a plan of action in a minute, but this is more of what is your intention to get this money, to earn your business? What is it? So he says, why do you choose that particular way to give? For example, I've always wanted to work with children, homeless, the needy. It makes me feel part of a community. It makes me feel generous. It makes me feel like I have something to give. He says, I believe in the power of desire backed by faith because I have seen this power lift men from lovely beginnings to places of power and wealth. I have seen it rob the grave of its victims. I have seen it serve as the medium by which men staged a comeback after having been defeated in 100 different ways. So now you know how much money you want. Now I want you to write, what is it that you're going to give? What I wrote in my book is I'm 100% committed to the growth of ESS. That's what I write every day. I'm committed to the growth. In my health part of it, I write, I am committed to healing my body. So that's my intention. That is the intention of the outcome of having the money. So those are some ideas. That one, when I first started doing this exercise 10 years ago, that was probably the hardest for me, was this number 2, the intention. But what is your intention as far as what you think about? What is it that you have to possess personally to make that happen? Okay. Now, the exciting part is, next one is task number 3, is you're going to write down, what is your definite date? What is the date you're going to receive this money? And if you do something else, what is the date you want it to have? So why that date? Example, if it corresponds in a natural day of independence or Thanksgiving that you want to claim for yourself, it's an anniversary or an important date in your life. It could be just your yearly goal. So my goal, I have that I want it to be done by December 31st, because that's the goal for the business. Okay. So it says a burning desire has devious ways of transmitting itself into physical equivalent. You guys have to have that burning desire. I don't know if you've read about this, having that white burning. The other day, my husband and I were working in our yard and we did a little fire pit, and it reminded me, because towards the end, those briquettes became burning white. And that's the desire that you have to feel when you're writing these things down and going through the practice of doing this daily. I don't want it to be that you're just writing it out every day and it seems mundane. This has to be where you're sitting down and really thinking about that getting the money. You're thinking about the intention of being that committed. Okay, and the date that you want it. Envision the fact that at December 31st, you're going to have that dollar amount. Vision it. Napoleon Hill also talks about having boardroom meetings. So it's same thing as dreaming, visualization. Think about what it's going to be like when you get that money. Really think about that date and really envision how are you going to celebrate? What are you going to do? All of those things. So it's part of the process of writing these out each day, is not just the words, but how are you going to feel? What are you going to do? And what's it going to look like when it happens? Now, task number 4 is going to take us a little bit longer. So I want to make sure everybody has a goal. I want to make sure everybody has an intention. And then 3, I want to make sure everybody has a date. The 4th task is a plan. I debated whether I was going to say this, but I'm going to say it. This isn't like The Secret. You're not going to just write something down and hope it happens. This is where you're going to write something down, you're going to have intention, and now you're going to have a plan to make it happen. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes here. I'm going to read a couple things, and then I want you to write out just 3 things that you have to do every day to make sure that you're hitting your goal in the time frame that you want. So it says, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. Let me read that again, because that's really important. This is the not knowing how. And that's even, I know we're writing a few things of what you're going to do, but you might still be thinking, gosh, is this going to work? I promise you, if you do this, like I said earlier, I don't know how it happens, but I'm not stopping this game, because every time I play it, I win. So let me read this. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. Okay, examples are to commit to completing this workbook. Okay, it could that you have to do research. It could be, right, in our business, we have to prospect. So what are the 3 things? You may as well know right here that you can never have riches in great quantities unless you can work yourself into a white heat of desire for money and actually believe you will possess it. You have to believe it. Keep visualizing it. If in your heart right now you don't believe it because you've never had it, keep picturing it. Keep picturing it and just visualize it. So I'm going to give everybody just a few minutes. I want you to write down 3 action steps that you have to do daily so that this money comes to you in the time frame that you intended. So I'm just going to give you a few minutes on that. Okay, Trevor, I'm using you as my guide because you're the only, well, and Rick, but I saw that you had your head down and now you're up. So hopefully you've written that out. Guys, if this was too short of a time, rewrite it. I've sometimes started these and rewritten it. The wording is different. But the goal is to write it in a definite way so that each day when you write it out, your desire goes from a thought to a really white hot desire. Now, one of the things that Napoleon Hill says we need to do is we need to write this out daily, and we need to look at it daily, twice. So what I've done is I write it in my morning, my journal every day. I've also recorded it. So at night, if for some reason I can't rewrite it, because you should be doing it twice a day, that I've actually recorded it in my own voice. And honestly, to me, that at the end of the day is really quite powerful, because I'm hearing myself say the things that I've thought about throughout the day, I've thought about in the morning. I have it so it a picture of it can come up on my, as a picture. I have things saved, because you and I both know that through our days, a lot of times things go awry and we lose our vision of what we want. We lose our heart of where our intentions are supposed to go. So if you're doing this in the morning, you're reading it, you're writing it, it's important. Don't just read it every day. I would rewrite it every single day and make it a purposeful exercise. Don't rush through it. If I'm going to rush through it, I will wait to do it later, because then it just doesn't do the same thing. So write it out daily in the morning, and then read it again in the evening before you go to bed. It's just really important. You can share it with people. You can keep it private if you want to. It's up to you. I've always shared it with my husband, because luckily he supports the goals that I have. So hopefully you have someone in your life like that as well. If you're in coaching and you can share this with your coach. If you're in my schedule, please share it with me. If you're in our managers, if you're talking with your managers and your brokers, we can see Rick here every morning. Obviously, he's somebody that would be more than happy to support you in these goals as well. So I wanted to go through this today because I think it's funny. I was having a conversation with Kim Cruz down at North Star Title, and her and I were talking about this. She was talking about how every morning we go through, these self-confidence, we go through the 12 steps, we go through the affirmations. And she said, it would be really great if we could start to break those down. And I just happened to set new goals. I just happened to listen to Think and Grow Rich while I was gardening over the weekend. And I thought, you know what? I am going to do this for Morning Ascent. I want to break down what is that self-confidence formula? The self-confidence formula supports this exercise that we just did today. Guys, set a goal, write it out, write your intentions, write out what you have to do, because you have to do something to go get it. You have to be committed. It doesn't mean you're going to be 100% every day, but it does make it, for me, it makes me more accountable to it. In fact, one of the things that I wrote this morning in my health part is I'm supposed to exercise 4 times a day. And because of my 2 mornings, Monday and Tuesday, I wasn't able to. So it reminded me, I've committed that I have to do that 4 times. So this week I got to find out where else I'm going to do those 2 days that I normally do, Monday and Tuesday. So by reading this, it reaffirms, it reminds me of things I know, but I might choose to not do because life is busy. I have to get up earlier. I have to, whatever the reason is. So this will help you with your future vision, and it'll help you with right now to remember what you have to do, because life is happening around you. Okay, so I hope that this helps you today. I hope it helps you put your next quarter into place. I know we're already 1 month into the quarter. I want to make sure that when we do our mid-year reviews, that this plan gets you closer to whatever goal that you've set. So please put this together today if you didn't do it on the call. Enjoy the process, and thank you all for being here and letting me be a part of this.